A short trip in Japan finally reached the last day for two members of BTS, namely Park Jimin and Jungkook. For the fans who followed every word about them, this last day was very emotional. Not only because the trip was coming to an end, but also because the various simple moments they lived during their time in Japan suddenly felt much more meaningful. From a quiet morning to a night filled with city lights, everything seems to be part of a memory that they will always remember. Since a few days before, various fan reports on social media began to mention that Jimin and Jungkook were seen enjoying their time very casually at several locations in Japan. They do not look like two global superstars who are pursued by tight schedules, but rather like two best friends who finally have time to walk without pressure. On that last day, the atmosphere felt a little different. Several people who claimed to have seen them said that the two seemed to walk more slowly than usual, as if they wanted to enjoy every second that was left before they left the country. The morning in the quiet city began with cool air and clear sky. In a small cafe overlooking a street that was starting to get crowded by tourists and local workers, two men believed to be Jimin and Jungkook were seen sitting by a window. They wear casual clothes, hats, and masks, but their style and aura still makes some people around feel familiar. A visitor sitting not far from them then wrote down his experience on the internet. He said that the two looked very relaxed, talking slowly while occasionally laughing. No big cameras, no crowded staff, just two people enjoying a simple breakfast. Such a small moment quickly spread among fans. Many soldiers were touched to see how simple the atmosphere was. Over the years, the lives of BTS members have always been filled with world highlights, concert schedules, filming, and international travel. Therefore, seeing Jimin and Jungkook sitting in a small cafe in Japan feels like a slice of life that is rarely seen by the public. After leaving the cafe, some fans said that they saw the two walking in a shopping area famous for tourists. They stopped at a few small shops, looked at the goods, and occasionally talked while pointing at something in the storefront. Many people around, who are in fact do not immediately realize who they are. But as soon as one person began to recognize them, small whispers began to be heard among other visitors. Even so, the atmosphere remained quite calm, as most people chose to keep their distance. The thing that caught the attention of many fans the most was their facial expressions, which looked very relaxed. Jungkook seemed to laugh a few times when Jimin said something, while Jimin was seen enjoying the view of the city curiously, like someone who really wanted to keep memories of the place he was visiting. Such small interactions may seem mundane to others, but for BTS fans, the moment feels worth it. As the day progressed, the atmosphere of the city changed to become more crowded. The streets were filled with tourists walking with cameras in hand, shops began to play music, and the smells of food from small restaurants began to fill the air. In the midst of the crowd, Jimin and Jungkook kept walking calmly. Some fans who are aware of their existence prefer to see only from a distance, respecting their personal space. By evening, the sky began to turn golden. Some reports say that the two had stopped at a place with a beautiful view of the city. From there, they could see the tall buildings, the street lights that were starting to light up, and the stream of people walking below them. The moment felt very calm. No big crowds and no screaming, just two best friends standing side by side enjoying the view. Many fans then imagined a possible conversation between them at that time. After years of incredible journeys together, Jimin and Jungkook certainly have many memories to talk about. They started their careers as young trainees with big dreams, then slowly became part of one of the most famous music groups in the world. Their journey hasn't always been easy, but the bond they've built over the years makes their relationship look very strong. Night finally came, and the Japanese city turned into a sea of neon lights. Some who saw them said that the two had stopped at a small restaurant for their last dinner in the country. The atmosphere inside the restaurant is warm, with soft lights and tempting food aromas. They were seen talking for quite some time, as if in no hurry to end the evening. For many fans, knowing that it was their last night in Japan made this story feel even more emotional. The short trip may have been only a few days, but every moment they lived together seemed so meaningful. In a world that often moves very fast for an idol, this kind of time may feel very rare. As the night wore on, the two finally left the restaurant and walked back to the still bustling city streets. The store lights bounce off the slightly wet pavement, creating an atmosphere almost like a movie scene. Some passers-by may not realize that the two men casually walking among the crowd are global stars known to millions of people around the world. But for those who recognize, the scene feels very special. Not because of luxury or big events, but precisely because of its simplicity. That last day in Japan was a reminder that despite all the world's popularity and spotlight, Jimin and Jungkook are still two people who cherish small moments together. When the trip is finally completely over and they prepare to return to their routine as BTS members, the memories of the last day in Japan will remain. For fans, this story is not just about a short trip abroad. This is a story about friendship, about time spent without pressure, and about two artists who find happiness in simple moments that will probably never be forgotten. And maybe that's why this story has touched so many people's hearts. Because in the glittering world of entertainment, the most precious moments often come from the simplest things like walking together in a foreign city on your last night before heading home. As the night gets closer to midnight, the atmosphere of the city feels a little calmer. Neon lights were still burning brightly on various street corners, but the pace of people began to decrease. In such an atmosphere, Park Jimin and John Jungkook were seen walking slowly, as if they didn't want to rush to end their last day in Japan. Some fans who happened to see from a distance said that the two seemed to talk for quite some time while walking side by side, occasionally chuckling like two best friends who were reminiscing about the many things they had been through together. Their long journey as BTS members is certainly filled with countless memories. From their trainee days to standing on the world's biggest stages, they are all part of the story that shapes who they are today. Because of this simple moment in Japan feels like a small respite from the usually stressful life. Without a big camera spotlight or a busy schedule, Jimin and Jungkook seem to really enjoy the freedom of walking in a foreign city quietly. Some people who were around them even said that the aura of the two felt very warm and relaxed. Jungkook was seen pointing at something across the street several times, perhaps a store or a billboard that caught his attention, while Jimin nodded with a smile. Such small interactions may seem commonplace, but for fans who have only seen them on stage or television screens, the picture feels very touching. Before long, the two stopped for a moment at a crossroads overlooking a row of tall buildings filled with colorful lights. They stood there for a while, looking at the lively view of the night city. Many people believe that this is the kind of moment they will remember long after the end of this trip. The last night in Japan, where two best friends stood side by side, enjoying the beauty of the city before returning to their lives as world stars.